everybody, this is Louisa with Ellie Paper Studio, and I have my German Shepherd and Kitty in the room, so you're probably going to be hearing them. I have a quick project to share today with you. The reason I'm doing this project is because I have some thank you cards that I've been meaning to send out, and I really wanted to keep it simple and do kind of like an embossed with some with our initials. And what I ended up doing is I have these Ink and Inkadoo stamps that I've used in the past, that you've seen me use in the past. I'll put the numbers at the end of the video. And I have a German Shepherd trying to pick up wooden stamps from my wooden stamp bin. And that's not gonna work. Okay. And so real quickly, I love these stamps. They're really great to do these kinds of projects with. The only thing that I don't like about this stamp set, this alphabet is wonderful. I just don't like a few of the letters. They're either underwhelming or just not my style. The E is one of them, and E happens to be your last name, so that's a problem. So I decided I was looking for letters that would resemble an E or that I could build an E with. And the F was perfect for this. I love the swirl that it has. And then I looked at the I, which is another letter I'm very underwhelmed by. And it's also a really easy to put together letter. It's just a straight shot. So I cut it, kind of eyeballed it and measured it and cut, or I measured it, cut it and put it together, making the E. And then I used my husband's and my initials. And it actually turned out really, really well. This is kind of what it looks like. And even though it has a little bit of a space, it looks very, very kind of intentional. So I really, really like how it turned out. That being said, I'm going to be working with it. I have it mounted on my stamp. I've already kind of aligned it as much as I could. There's always going to be that little bit of perfectionism in me that's going to try to make it align better. But I also have this template that I built for myself using Spellbinder's ovals. I just cut about 7 sheets of A2 size paper, specifically for cards, and try to line them up as much as I could with my ovals. Then I tape them together, and this is also 80-pound paper, so it's a little thicker than the 65-pound that I normally use. And like I said, this video may be a little shoddy because I have to keep getting up and trying to get the dog in place. He's a puppy still, and he's being kind of rowdy, and I'm alone at home right now, and I don't want to turn him loose. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to choose my embossing folder, and I'm going to do some partial embossing. And the way I do it is I put my sandwich together by kind of playing with my Cuttlebug and seeing what's going to work. Okay, so I've chosen my embossing folder, and I also forgot to mention that the reason that I cut this oval is because I have this Sizzix die, and it's actually a Stampin' Up! Die that I got a while ago, and I believe they still have it available, and if they don't, try to get a hold of it. It is just simply amazing. It gives the project just a whole different side of dimension. So the first thing you're going to want to do, you can do it either way, and honestly I haven't done it in a while, so I'm going to be this is going to be a learning experience for me too, just now. So you put your cardstock in your embossing folder, and then you put the portion that you own that you've cut out with your ovals. And here's where it gets interesting, because the folder is larger than my Cuttlebug slot, I'm gonna have to fold the cardstock, which means that I'm gonna get a little tiny bit of area here that's not gonna emboss just perfect. And I'm just gonna have to live with that. Unless you have a Spellbinder's type of machine, then you can probably run it through just fine. but this is going to be most likely too thick. I have 2 B plates and an A. And yes, it won't go through. So instead of forcing it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove one of the B plates and then try my C plate. Now my C plate and my A plate alone are probably going to need some help. And actually, no, they didn't. It was thick enough that it's going through with some tension. And here you have it. It embossed all the area except for the oval. So now that I have my oval pretty well laid out, I take my Sizzix die and try to line it up as much as possible. And then this one does become a lot easier. This one's a lot easier because it's just your regular sandwich. What you do end up getting that I completely forgot is that you should probably do your ovals first, because the area where the Sizzix die pressures it, it'll flatten that piece of area on the cardstock. So this is going to be, I'm going to use this as my test cardstock, and then I'm going to use another one. So here's another piece of cardstock I have cut. And I'm going to try to eyeball it and center it. And that other piece of cardstock can still be salvaged. I'm just going to take a fine eye and a steady hand to salvage it. So that looks pretty well centered. So now that I have that piece done, then I can put it in my big embossing folder. And use some light to help me. And you have a perfect oval on an embossed card, and it looks wonderful. So next what I'm going to do is then I'm going to move forward to my embossing. And like I said, there is just going to be that little tiny bit of area that is just not going to be embossed because I had to fold my paper, and you lose that little bit. So I would recommend using, if you're using a Cuttlebug, using an embossing folder that is smaller than these 5x7 embossing folders, or using a Sizzix embossing machine. So next I'm going to need my Versamark, and I think I'm going to do these in gold. And this is my silver. Here's my silver. And here we have the piece, the emboss piece. So I'm going to go ahead and heat set this. And now we have a very classy, personalized piece of stationery. So all you have to do, since I'm doing these in bulk, or I'm doing several of these, what I normally do to work better is that I do everything on an assembly line basis. So I cut all my cardstock. Next, my next step would be to do my ovals. Then I do my second type of embossing, and then I do my letters and finally heat set it. There are several ways that you can do embossing in bulk. I recommend working in series of 5. If you're brave and very quick and it's easy, then maybe you can try to fit 8, maybe pushing it to 10. But at 10, what you're risking is that your embossing piece, the embossing ink you've stamped on the paper at that point probably has dried quite a bit, and it'll be a little harder for it to have the powder stick for the first initial pieces you put embossing powder on or embossing ink on. So I hope this helps you. I'm going to put a picture of the finished cards and what they look like on the inside. I do think it's a very elegant but very simple look, which is exactly what I'm going for. I hope you enjoy this, and I hope this inspired you.